Good afternoon, everybody. I have enjoyed the privilege of walking with women through their journeys into motherhood. And I was riding the crest 2 decades and more into my career. I felt I was good, I was safe, and a skilled, competent obstetrician. But a series of events made me stop and think. And I realized childbirth was facing a crisis, largely because we obstetricians had done that. We had turned something that was natural, physiological, into a medical emergency. We were intervening. We were doing things which were not necessary because we thought at the time they were right. You know now that the C-sections have been rising. And what more is, what is more important is that women all over have been subjected to disrespect and abuse, not given choices, coerced into doing things. So with this reflection, it led me to begin an in-house midwifery education and training program. And it came out of conviction. So we launched a campaign called Promise because we felt we needed a unique cadre to take care of women and humanize birthing. It also led me to reflect on respectful maternity care. I began to reflect on disrespect and abuse, and I realized it's a basic human right for every childbearing woman, no matter which part of the world she is, and which health facility she wishes to birth in. Why are we talking about that today? We know the way we are born and the way we give birth matters. Why does it matter? Because a woman's birthing experience leaves her with memories that can either empower her or scar her for life. A woman's birthing experience has long-term major implications on her future health and that of her baby. So, ladies and gentlemen, I stand here today enlightened, admitting that I had made mistakes unknowingly. And today, I am absolutely convinced we need a radical change in our childbirth practices. Why? Why do we need to do this? Why do we need to provide that environment for women to birth? Because through my midwifery program, not as an obstetrician, I realized, I discovered the hard truth that birth memories are long-lasting and imprinted on a woman's mind till she dies. And I began to reflect on the language I may have used as a young obstetrician, being insensitive to this, and how I might have emotionally scarred women unknowingly. Now we know that if a woman is supported through her labor, given the choice of a birth companion, allowed to walk around, and finally birth in the position of her choice, she steps into motherhood confident, empowered, with a feeling of accomplishment. And after that, if she's been allowed to hold her baby close to her chest, skin to skin, breastfeed her baby within an hour, not separated from her at all, she's firmly established that bond. And this mother and baby are ready to meet the world. But let's look at a young woman at 20, first-time mother-to-be, has absolutely no access to this information, is not prepared, has no idea of what's going to happen. And she is going into this birthing room, sees strangers, probably sees a staff, a group that's tired, exhausted, rude, is not allowed a birth companion, made to lie flat on her back, which is the most comfortable position. And mind you, we were trained to birth people on their backs, which was wrong. And is probably verbally and physically abused. Now, this woman is going to be scarred for the rest of her life, emotionally, psychologically. And what is going to happen? She's going to be filled with fear. So much fear that she may never want to conceive. So much fear that if she does conceive, she doesn't want to go back to a healthcare facility. And maybe she would birth alone at home, unassisted, even though she faces the risk of dying. We also know that these negative birth experiences cause post-traumatic stress disorder and postnatal depression. Women don't need to be subjected to this. In 2014, the World Health Organization came out with a very powerful statement. It says every woman, no matter which part of the world she is, has a right to dignified, respectful care during pregnancy and childbirth. We are all mammals, and I think we can learn a lesson from the animal kingdom. Look at this herd of elephants, giving that amazing space for a mama elephant who's birthing inside. The elephants are providing that mama elephant with privacy, and she feels safe. Why is it we don't do this for our women in this country? I'd like to take you to this image. And this is what we see. This is the reality across our country. We have 23 million births a year, 60% of which happens in public hospitals. But mind you, disrespect and abuse is across public and private hospitals. How dare that young man stands at the foot end of the bed, answering his mobile, while there are two women on the flat of their backs, half naked, stripped of all dignity. And this is a teaching hospital, producing our next generation of obstetricians. The government is encouraging hospital births, and more so, we are incentivizing it. So our public hospitals are flooded with young mothers, but not necessarily getting the best care. So if you look at the volumes that are coming in, we don't have the supporting infrastructure. We don't have staff, there's no running water, there are no clean toilets, there are no beds. So what's the solution? We need to first begin by empowering our women. We need to tell every childbearing woman her basic rights. Teach her the human rights in childbirth so she knows what she can demand, what she can ask for. And that is so important. And the icing on the cake would be to prepare her to handle labor with childbirth classes. And look at this picture of a midwife in a district hospital where we are working with the Telangana government in training nurses for midwifery. She's taking childbirth classes for a group of women who were waiting in the antenatal clinic. They have about 200 mothers every morning. And what happened? With these midwives doing this, the normal births began to increase. The second and the most important change, simple, no high tech. Do not allow a woman to birth alone. It's a violation, gross violation of her basic human rights. No woman should ever birth alone, and majority of our women in this country birth alone, even in private hospitals across the country. Now that is a scene from the district hospital in Telangana that never allowed companions, and you see that young woman with her husband. So this group of midwifery students in Telangana with 800 births in a month are causing ripples. women are birthing in positions of their choice. We know that if a woman has a companion she can trust, she does not feel afraid. That companion can give her the emotional support, psychological support, and also the practical support of a back rub, a massage, give her enough liquids, assure her. But most importantly, the companion is an advocate for the mother. And when a woman has a birth companion, the staff are less likely to be disrespectful. So no woman should birth alone, and every woman should be told it is her right. And we should join that movement where women are going to say, I am not going to get into the delivery room without a companion, and I'm all ready to join this movement. But majority of our women are alone. And this is what we saw when I was walking through one of our public hospitals with the Royal College of Midwifery, the president. And it broke our hearts to see this woman lying alone on a stone floor, alone, in labor. Why should our women be subjected to this? Birth is the most significant event in a woman's life, and we need to treat it with the respect and dignity, the sacredness it deserves. So what's the solution? I am convinced we need professional midwives, and professional midwifery has to form the backbone of our maternity services in this country. Women should ask for professional midwives because who is a professional midwife? This image shows our young midwife, Asha, homegrown in Fernandez. And just look at the way she's serving that woman in labor. A professional midwife is somebody who goes through very focused training. She may be a nurse, or she could be a direct entry. In India, we have nurses who then go through a minimum period of 2 years of focused training. And they only work with low-risk, uncomplicated pregnancies. And these mothers form 85% of the pregnant population. So 85% of you who are uncomplicated, you don't need to see us obstetricians. You are far safer in the hands of a professional midwife because she is trained in normality. And if there is a little deviation, she will call the doctor or refer you. But as long as you're uncomplicated, she's there. She's highly skilled, very confident, and accountable for both lives. And there's enough research to show that countries that invest in midwives, it's the most cost-effective solution because you've got a highly skilled cadre that focuses on the mother during her pregnancy, labor, birth, helps her take care of the newborn, and helps her with lactation. Now, we have invested in midwives from August 2011, and for 60 years, women in Fernandez only saw a doctor. But now, in the last 7 years, our midwives have birthed almost 9,000 women, and we are privileged to look after the whole socio-economic spectrum. Today, women are asking for midwives, not asking for us obstetricians. So we've broken through the glass ceiling. And I stand here in front of you and I appeal to the women who have uncomplicated pregnancies, ask for a professional midwife. And this is the group in Telangana. You can see how happy they are. They call themselves the agents of change. Finally, and this is probably the most difficult solution, the obstetric fraternity to which I belong. We obstetricians need to shed a lot of what we've learned. We need to unlearn, and we need to open our minds to evidence-based practices. We need to shed all the archaic practices that we were taught because they have no scientific sense. We need to open our hearts and minds and embrace professional midwives as colleagues. Because when we do that, We put the woman and her baby in the center of all our decisions. And only when we do that, every pregnant woman will feel cherished, respected. I long for the day when in India, every pregnant woman will see a midwife first, and only if necessary will see an obstetrician. And that is the vision we have at Fernandez. We believe very strongly in this and respectful care. Because, ladies, I'm sure you agree with me. If a community values its children, it must cherish its mothers. Thank you.